Hi, I'm Rebecca with Cherished Children Ministries. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the coronavirus and homeschooling when you hadn't planned on it. So as concerns about the coronavirus or the COVID-19 continue to rise along with the mounting number of confirmed cases in the United States and many parts of the globe, many parents are seeking to be proactive in educating their children. Since some of you find yourselves homeschooling for the first time, I want to make sure that I offer some tips for you as you navigate through these next several weeks. I'll be sharing over on the Cherished Children Ministries Facebook page. If you want to hop over and join that, you can. I'll be sharing on a weekly basis for parents who are novice homeschoolers as well as those veterans. I have had the honor and privilege of teaching in all grade levels, including early childhood and elementary school, middle school, high school, and even college. Some of you might have a child that has a special need like dyslexia or ADD, ADHD, or other spectrum disorders. I have some videos on those. I also offer classes for those kids who have dyslexia, ADD, ADHD, spectrum kinds of disorders. There are some tools in my shop right now if you need to grab some of those if you already know where your child is with that. There's a series of free videos on your special needs learner. All you have to do is go to the website, cherishedchildrenministries.org. Just click the link below, sign up, and then you will get all the videos sent to you, and that should help you at least get started on your journey on helping your special needs learner. Teaching really is a true gift, and many moms love doing this with their own kids. And I can tell you, I get asked on a weekly basis, how do I do it? How do I teach other people's kids? Because you see, not only do I homeschool, but I also get to teach because that's my gift, is teaching. So I love teaching. It's my passion. And just unlocking those children's brilliance whenever sometimes things get hard at home, or maybe mom or dad or grandma and grandpa doesn't really know how to help this child. My goal is to help you and your child thrive no matter what kind of schooling that you do, but especially during these next few weeks as you find yourself homeschooling, perhaps for the very first time. And if it's not new to you, you might be able to learn something as to how your child does actually learn if you haven't discovered that already. I teach the different learning styles and help teachers and parents understand the varied learning styles. That's part of my training, and I can tell you that personally, I have 3 of my own kids who have very different learning styles. Not only are they different, but I am different. So when these clash, you can see where problems might arise. My goal is to actually help you thrive at home with your kids during this time, whether this homeschooling journey for you is temporary or if it turns out to be long term. Now, this journey often looks different for many. I will tell you that since kids learn in varied ways, it's very, very important not to pass judgment on yourself. Give yourself some grace, or your friend or your neighbor who may or may not be doing the same thing that you're doing. So again, this goes back to how kids learn best. And I can tell you, for my own family, I have 3 kids and they absolutely thrive on routine. So while they have different styles, routine is essential for them to have success for their day. I will go ahead and I'll put in the link below a schedule of what our day looks like. Now, please, just because our day looks like this doesn't mean that your day necessarily has to look like this. Just look through it, see what works for you, and then change the things that you need to change that fits you during this journey. Some of you might be saying, well, I can do this for a week or 2, but I'm not sure that I can do it long term. Well, first of all, you have to make sure that if you do decide to do it long term, that you are called to do it long term. Some of you might just be doing it the remainder of the school year, and that's okay too. But in order to answer the question that I get several emails about is, can I homeschool my child temporarily? Well, sure you can. Why? Because there are so many resources available for you during this time of need. Perhaps that will go ahead and expand over to long-term homeschooling for you. And if it does, great and good. If it doesn't, that's okay too. That's why we have different options for schooling. But I do want to share with you some simple and effective tips to help you over the next few weeks. There are many, many ways to homeschool. In fact, every homeschooling looks different for every family. Most often, the parent takes time to determine how they would like their child to learn and what methods of homeschooling that might entail. Again, I want to encourage you to make sure you figure out how your child learns best. Is your child an auditory learner? Is your child a kinesthetic learner, meaning that they need a lot of movement? Is your child more of a linguistic, or maybe they like to complete worksheets? We need to figure out how they learn best because that looks different for everybody. So to figure out your learning style, again, there's a link below. It's in the free resources section, and that's going to help you get started. I'm going to be doing a series of videos on each of these different learning styles. Something to keep in mind is that the parent style is most likely different from the child style. I'll be sharing the learning combinations and the ways in which we learn and the ways in which we remember. I'll also be sharing the ways in which we understand, as well as the difficulties that there are for every style of learning and accommodations for each one. So first of all, I want to encourage you to stick with routine, whatever your routine is that you set. So it's up to you to set the routine and whatever that looks like for your family. For our family, we're very structured, and that is how we thrive. For other families, it doesn't look quite so structured, and that is okay if that is how your family thrives. So first of all, you have to figure that out and show yourself some grace. Do not judge yourself against others because everybody is different. So that's my very first tip for you, is just to stick with your routine, whatever kind of routine that you set. It's also really important that if you have more than one child, that you create a workspace for your kids, because what will happen is sometimes, at least for our family, we have 3 different children at 3 different levels at all different ages. And so some are more independent than others and don't need me as much. However, if a sibling gets into another sibling's space while working, some of that hard work for that concrete learner could be upset, and then it could cause friction in the home. So it's important to create everyone's own workspace, and that could look different. Again, there's no set in stone what that needs to look like, but just so everyone has their private space is really, really important. My next tip is just don't sit there. It's important that we move up and down because that gets some oxygen flowing to our brain. I encourage my families that I work with to make sure that their kids have healthy snacks. So grab a basket, a little basket, and just put some healthy snacks in it, and that's that child's basket for the day. So perhaps like a little orange, maybe a granola bar. Make sure, of course, whatever that their favorites are, but I would encourage non-sugary things. Of course, you already know this. But just a little tip for you is just to have a little basket of healthy snacks, and you determine how many snacks they get for the day. And when those snacks are gone out of the basket, they don't get any more until it's time for your dinner time. The next tip that I have for you is to make sure you get fresh air every day. But it is important to get outside, go for a walk, ride bikes, hike, get outside a little bit. Use the outdoors as your classroom as much as you can. Read outside. I do a read aloud with my kids every day for about half an hour. We come together after we have worked with my younger kids, and my older one is more independent, and then we come together for just some mom and child / student time, and we read together. So you could do that outside, or you could have your kids just read outside. Maybe you live in an apartment and there's a balcony. Maybe that's a privilege where they can read outside or something. Just be creative at what works for you, your environment, your atmosphere. But especially on sunny days, make sure to try to get outside and get some of that natural vitamin D from the sun. You'll actually be really amazed at how the mood changes and how everyone in your household is just a little bit happier. Another thing you can do is to stay connected with your child's friends if they are coming from public school and now they find themselves in some isolation at home from the social distancing. So even though we have social distancing, technology's made it rather simple, but I would advise a word of caution just to make sure you're present. If you allow your child to do different kinds of social visiting online with a friend, just to make sure that, that it is safe. So I like to use Zoom to do my classes with my students, and then we have a hybrid model, so we get to homeschool a couple days a week, and then my kids also get to see their teacher a couple of days a week as well. So it's really beautiful kind of a model. So everyone looks just a little bit different, but it is nice to see those faces and to see those classmates, and it's an opportunity to share ideas and some thoughts with those fellow classmates. I know with my students that I'm still teaching, they are delivering reports, and so we're able to do that online now. So it's a lot of fun. I encourage you to give it a try. It's free, it's easy. If you have less than 8 students that you are socializing with, or that you are maybe in homeschool community with, you can go ahead and you can do like a messenger chat together. Another tip that I would give you is to set a timer for your kiddos that sometimes get off task. So especially for our littler learners, you might just set the timer for like 5 or 10 minutes to help those guys know whenever we're transitioning from one thing to another thing. Again, this goes back to how your child learns best. Some kids may not need this, but some kids really need that in order to thrive. They're used to a schedule, they're used to a bell ringing or a sound alarming. So if they need that, just go ahead and give that to them. You can do this with, of course, a watch, or you can do it with any kind of a device. There should be an alarm on there, but just to keep them plugging along, and it will help them accomplish what they need to for that day. It's also important to go ahead and talk to your kids and your family about preparing for disruptions, because mom and or dad or grandma or grandpa, whatever the family looks like, most likely they are probably working from home as well. So we have now a whole family that is either schooling in a home together or working from home together, and different people in the family will be needing different things at different times. So it's important that we prepare our kids for those disruptions, because they will happen. If they're prepared, if they know this will happen, they won't be as alarmed, they will not be as frustrated. It's important to talk it over, have a plan for your family. For our family, I like to say, hey, draw me a picture or write me a note on a sticky note, because I have one that is not writing yet, whenever there is a need. That way I know that there is a need, and then I can go meet it as soon as I'm finished doing the task that I'm doing right now. Of course, it looks different if there's an emergency, so we have another plan in case there is an emergency. Just be flexible and stay calm. Children being pulled out of public school, or maybe parents have just decided to homeschool in the middle of the school year, this is not a new concept. It happens all the time. In fact, every year there are a substantial number of homeschoolers that start homeschooling in the middle of the term. So it's really not uncommon, and you do not have to worry about breaking any laws. In fact, most of our states are actually encouraging this right now. You might have to abide by your district's curriculum, so go ahead and do that. But in the meantime, trying to encourage you to stay calm and that you can get through it. You might look at this as an opportunity to just give homeschooling a try. Who knows? Maybe you'll be seeking a new opportunity by the time the next school year rolls around. You will just be better equipped if and when needed. Either way, just take a deep breath and get started. You can do this. You can go ahead and get all the free resources on cherishedchildrenministries.org. Remember that supplementary learning resources can also play a really big role in your homeschooling journey, especially during this time. So be sure to check out perhaps Khan Academy and Outlook and Printout are also really good resources. I will put links to those in the description box as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if I can help you in any way, let me know. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Remember, I'm going to be doing a series of videos in the learning styles and the way kids learn, as well as accommodations and obstacles that they might face over the next several weeks. Make sure you tune in and join me there. Thank you for watching this video.